Welcome to Learn and Do with Peter and crew, and this is April 17th, 2024. Let me share my screen and we'll get going. Oh, actually, let me make my screen big before I share it. I'm finally getting to the point. I've got a decent sized monitor. It's not big or anything like that in front of me, and then I've got my laptop on the side, so I've got two screens. I'm finally getting to the point where I need three screens, or I guess maybe a really wide main monitor. Anyway, that's top of mind because when you go to change your monitor resolution, I have to like switch to the right one and then change it. Now I can share my screen. Hey, Claire. We're just getting started.
Hi.
So here's the HackMD. Um, there's a slightly new thing here where I said I emailed out the link to this. I didn't email it. I guess I put it in the chat for this meeting on Mighty Networks, which is really cool. I added a section for question and comments, and the idea here, don't feel obliged, but I'm totally fine with like when I share a link to one of these, the invitation is for you to edit it too. You should edit to improve it, not to make it worse or to make problems for me, but I can deal with it. One of the things I don't think I've talked about it, but one of the reasons I feel comfortable sharing this link, letting anybody edit it, uh, a question you might have is like, yo, Pete, what if I go in and switch all your topics around or change them or Jankify them? That'd be awesome. Um, or what if I delete everything? Or, what if I put spam or whatever? So a thing I don't think I've talked about, but let me tell you really quick, is that uh, this HackMD keeps track of all the changes that have been made to this. It does snapshots every 10 minutes. And so, I was working on it this morning, and then if somebody came in and defaced it between then and now, all I would have to do is click on one of these and I could get back to where I was. And then I could, start from there. I could reshare a new one with the same content or something like that. Um, so if you're shy and you worry that you're going to screw up my thing, don't. And I guess that's kind of the thing to share there. So the idea of this was, here's the topics that kind of a topic list. This is a little bit like an agenda, but I don't call it agenda because it's things we might not cover and it might not be the right order. And then questions and announcements is a place where even if you don't really know the HackMD thing, if you get to this screen, you don't have to log in. I think I said that in the message. Add your own, click at the end of this line and hit enter. So the idea is you click there and hit enter, um, uh, and then you can type. And you don't have to worry about markdown or anything like that. If you just type, you'll be fine. You can even ask more questions. Okay. So that's a little bit of the usability of this even before the meeting. And I will probably try to be better. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. I'll try to do this more and more, have it set up before the meeting, and have a way, a way for you to kind of add to it as in the moment. Let me also note another thing here. If I go to AI Salon and Learn and Do with Pete, and then this event, shoot, I thought it was here. Maybe it's on this. Maybe it's on the other one. Um, let me click the other one, I guess. Or maybe I didn't scroll down enough. Dan did something cool. So I guess he didn't RSVP for this one. I think this is the next one. And so now I've completely screwed things up. But anyway, if you go to the event and put a message here, Pete, I've got this big question about blah, or like Joy did one day, I can't get my claymation character quite right. That's a hint to me that we could cover that. And so you'll see Dan's thing is reflected pretty well, ChatGPT and Obsidian and Midjourney SREF, CREF. So I encourage you to hack the meeting before the meeting. Either by making a comment on the Mighty Networks event and or, hacking in here. So let me also note that I had started pretty well making sure that the session notes get moved over to the website, and the past few meetings I haven't been moving them over for various reasons. So I wanted to let you know that I did a pretty good job setting it up beforehand, so it was easy for me to move the 4 or so session notes over. And you can click on this link and get there. So these are, since I think these are all the learn and do ones, but the previous name AI 101 isn't in this list yet and may or may not end up here. But if you wanted to know what we talked about or what was that link or whatever in a previous meeting, you should be able to go here and find it. And so this is the HackMD from the last session with Monster Mash and some Jenkifier stuff, and talking about the ecosystem around Obsidian, Markdown, HackMD, etc. A thing I wrote here is this list is maintained by hand and may not be up to date. Use all pages, which is either this link here or this link here. You can always go to click all pages, and then you can search for a page name, like learn. So these are all the learn and do pages. And I could also search for AI 101. So here's the session notes from when it used to be called AI 101 Live. Even though it's not on that list, I just had. So I feel as a information management person, technical writer person, Vicky's in the room. I'm embarrassed to be showing something that's kind of janky. But it is what it is, right? So what's going to happen is a couple months from now, I'm going to forget to put some stuff in a list here and it won't be complete. And some part of me will die inside because it's not perfect. Along with kind of ADD, probably all of us have perfection problems. This website is never going to be perfect, but it's pretty good. And so I wanted to kind of like, along with that page, I wanted to say, this homepage, I like informationally, this is a mess. Usability wise, it's a mess, but it's kind of what I'm able to do in a little bit of interstitial time, along with doing the sessions. And it's a really awesome resource. And I keep improving it a little bit. I would love to, I should start doing some specific sessions about let's do stuff with this website. This website, as you may or may not know, it's maintained with Obsidian. Here's what it looks like on my computer. And then, Obsidian is something I like to teach. Markdown is something I like to teach. And getting even you, maybe that's a way to, even somebody non-technical, anybody can pretty easily use Obsidian and then create a website like this for free and host it for free and stuff like that. I've got dozens, I don't know, maybe dozens, probably dozens of these websites built like this for all different purposes. And in some ways, it's a little bit more responsibility than doing it in WordPress or Wix or something like that. It's not very much more responsibility, and it's a lot more powerful and then maintainable and stuff like that. So I guess that turned into a small ad that massive web ecosystem, I'm calling it right now. Okay, so notes from live sessions, Jankifiers. So the big thing to talk about this session is going to be Jankifiers and LLMs, basically. So we're 15 minutes in. Let's make sure we talk about Jankifiers for a while, and then let's make sure we give a lot of time for this LLM stuff. We got lots of information. Okay, let me take a breath. Everybody's, let me stop the share real quick. Everybody's cool. Everybody's still on track. Do we have any questions we should cover right away? Directions we should go differently. Cool. So I'll share my screen again. And it's kind of funny. Last time somebody asked a question, is there a link in the notes to Jankifiers? And there's not even still. Let me put a link. Oh, that was a weird way to do that. It's pretty cool if you, wow, Mighty Networks is searchable too. If you search for Jankifiers, because it's a unique word, you find my page, but you also find Vicky's page. Thank you, Vicky, for blogging about this. It's super cool. So let's grab this link, put it in here. And then if you're on this page, this is a new thing that just started happening today. The highlight gets stuck. I just reloaded it. If you're looking at this page, you can just click on that and it'll open up. I think everybody here kind of knows what Jankifiers are. The idea is to get ChatGPT to write a single file web page, and then the web page can have some JavaScript in it that ChatGPT writes that does something cool with text. One of the things I hoped for was that we would get a bunch of people making Jankifiers themselves and either sharing them with us or not. So on my personal objectives, I forget what the goal is. My personal objectives, we don't have, Vicky has written a couple of these, which is awesome. Thank you, Vicky. But we don't have enough from other people yet. And maybe people are writing their own and just not sharing them, which is totally cool. But I think people aren't. So I am super excited to help more people do Jankifiers. Danielle and I were in a meeting yesterday. I said, I told her she should do short, I hope you don't mind if I share, Danielle. She should do short tutorial videos, 90-second videos. Here's how you do Mad Libs. I should do short 90-second videos. Here's how to do Jankifiers. Here's how to use them, first of all. And then here's how to make them and stuff like that. So I should do more of that. But maybe even on this call, maybe a next call, we could have somebody else share their screen and we can walk through the process of making one. There's two parts to this. Well, more than
Can I
two
jump
parts.
in really quick, Pete? Oh, I'm back over here.
Please, Cindy, yes.
Okay. That made me very happy and excited. So I've been trying to sort of follow along and play along, but I'm gonna do the hi, my name is Cindy, and I am
Let me
not
stop the share
quite
real
in
quick.
I'm not quite in the full club. So the last two times I've been like, yeah, totally in. And then I leave you and I didn't have the link that you just shared last time. So
Yep.
now I have that. But I'll be real honest. I sit and I listen and I'm like taking some notes, but it's like I should have, when 3 times ago or something you guys started the like live stuff, but I didn't have ability at that time, whatever I was doing. So when you just said we should do some 90-second things, I will be your first user of that. It would be so awesome because like I get the overall, but then I'm here and now I've got a meeting in 45 minutes. And this is what keeps happening to me is I haven't made anything because I then come back to it and I'm like, oh, right. What were all the
Yeah.
pieces? And I want to be totally honest with you guys that I love this. I'm so in. I want to participate, but something's happening inside my head because I come here, it's 10 o'clock in the morning for my time. I'm trying to use my whiteboard and like get myself to be better about keeping the dot connecting. And then I can't get to it until Saturday.
Yeah.
This is what keeps happening to me. And then I get there and I'm lost again. And then I go to another one of these and it's advancing and I'm not.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if there's any way that you guys would be willing to do like these like I don't care 90-second like 101 from watch this one, I would be so follow along. That's all I want to say.
Thanks, Cindy. That's awesome feedback. Thank you. Danielle.
So on a Mac, there's a way to do screen recording and have like your little face in a bubble. Like it's a new feature that's recently added, I think. I think it's recently, but also on Zoom, there's a way to do it as well to so I think that regarding like Mad Libs even, or even like how Cindy was talking about for like just if like a little 90-second like step one, even if we had like I heard that recently that a really good way to do um what's it called? Just social media stuff is just to do like a screenshot of like say you have an iPhone on your notes list, have a screenshot of that and show like the check marks of like okay, step one, step two, and have that up and then say just to show the steps of what you're doing and then doing it on the screen, have your little face in a bubble and say, okay, here's this, and then they could even take a screenshot of it themselves. And like, and then save your little video. I don't know if you do TikToks, Pete, but hey,
Not
get
yet.
started. So I think that I don't know. I could try that. I think I don't know. I have to because I have to do something. I have to do something to start advertising my business. I'm supposed to start opening next month. Supposed
Well,
to.
what I'm thinking too, Danielle, is like if you are generous enough to do that, then what we can do back is create a way to I have TikTok, but I don't post anything, but other things I do, right? Like we do an intentional partnership because you can teach me with your 10 little 90 seconds and then I will you post something about that on LinkedIn and then I'll go do a whole thing where I'm like, y'all, let me tell you what Danielle taught me working with her. I think that is like I would love to please help you because you guys are helping me so much that I don't have a way to give back on this right here, but that's a cool way to do it. Like if you are generous, I think those of us who are in here, it's like let's find a way to lift your business and say how awesome you are. I'm in.
Through the Mad Libs, even because I want to be generous, but like, would Mad Libs really help my business though? I mean, I don't know.
Your generosity will help your business.
Yeah,
So
it all
I don't
helps,
think
right?
it matters. I don't think it matters the content. It's all of us saying you showed up, you're a person to be counted on. That's the era we're in. It's authenticity. And is if people can say for each other, I've seen how this person shows up and it's real. That's what matters, not what
Okay.
you're contenting, I think.
Okay.
So
You too, Pete.
what's that?
You too. You have to do it too. Do your
I'm gonna do it.
little face in a
Let's
little
come up with
bubble.
so for better or for worse, I've got the recording. I've got the recording pattern down. I use Zoom and share my screen, and then I'm in a little bubble, and it works. It's not pretty, but it works. Um, uh, so let's have a name for this support group where we're going to support each other in making little videos. What should the name
That'd
of
be
that be?
great. Seriously, because it is so like we talked about that yesterday. I have so much anxiety about like I'm okay with this. I'm okay with talking with a small group, but like people that are randos on the internet. I mean, you guys are too. I'm like, I've never met any of you in person, but like, I feel comfortable talking to you. Even people with their screens off, Paul, Tobias, Dr. Claire Jacobs, RJ. Just kidding.
Tobias has got an excuse.
I
Probably
know.
RJ too.
I'm just playing. But like people that I don't want to deal with trolls, even though I shouldn't care. I need to like mentally prepare myself for trolls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
I
get
know
it.
we're going off on a tangent here, but we do need to make like a group for this to like
So what's the name of it?
I'm
ask
terrible with
ChatGPT.
names. I
Ask
know. Ask
ChatGPT.
chat. I'm the worst at titling. I was just gonna
Okay.
say, Danielle, to your piece, that's why we preset as a cheerleader group to also balance, you know. I mean, I think that's the beauty of Kyle's TikTok is the moderators who are so generous with their time and balancing that stuff is why it makes it all work, because you have the fun party bubbles up way over any naysayers. So that's all you need. You need your community just like pushing down, and you are going to get trolls. I mean, humans are crazy.
They are.
You don't have trolls, you're not doing it right.
Yeah. If
Wow.
nobody's trolling you, you're not being seen.
And yeah, I guess that causes, you know, you want people talking in the comments, I guess. And maybe
Or you can turn the comments off.
no, I want there, I mean, yeah. But I think that
You know, it's I was having a discussion. So one of my things is passive people. We're supposed to be doing more paid education stuff. Anyway, I was talking with one of my partners this morning, and I'm like, Anne Murphy was kind enough to invite me to present on Obsidian and stuff like that on one of her sessions, and that was the first session that she had that was had a $7 door fee to keep the trolls out. So we talked for a little while about, you know, I don't know why she has trolls. I never get trolls in my things, and then I was like, oh wait, I don't have that many people. I should have the problem that Anne has and having trolls.
I would also
And then
say
you figure out what
here,
to do with
those
them.
trolls, it was very specific and it was men. And I also think that when you have a woman who is running the
Yeah.
show, the
Yeah.
level of trolling is far higher than when you have a man. So
Yeah.
what she was running into was very male troll.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We
And it
used
wasn't- So
yeah. RJ?
You're muted, RJ.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it's because I switched from temporarily to my Bluetooth headset. I think that messes up Zoom. Sorry about that. Okay, so Peter, what I was going to point out is you guys don't advertise these meetings on Meetup, so it's all internally within the Tiny Habits network, which is somewhat of an isolated, protected community that
Yep.
doesn't get spammers and trolls and Zoom bombers. So that's why you don't get any Zoom bombers here, basically, because you're not advertising this meeting on Meetup. So if as soon as you do that, you can start to get a lot of them actually, and they're very depressing to have to deal with. So just letting you know, be careful.
yeah.
Thanks, RJ.
And I'm saying that as someone who's very Zoom bomber-ophobic. It really shakes me
It's
and rattles me when somebody when calls and that I'm on get Zoom bombed. I find it very, very
it's
threatening,
disruptive.
actually. I don't know why, but I just do.
Well, I'm not
It's,
going to be doing a Zoom. Sorry, I'm not going to be doing a Zoom. I'm just going to be doing a video if and when.
there you go.
I'm
So
just
where were you guys talking about putting all of this stuff that
Yeah,
these
we need to-
little snippets? Why don't you just put it somewhere on the tiny the
Mighty Networks?
Mighty Networks?
I-
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. It's not
Make-
I'm
mine.
gonna put
make another
Yeah.
tab in your area, Pete, if you could.
Okay.
that we
Yeah.
could and call it something like to a support a support group for us.
I've got this really long dorky name, and later when we're playing with LLMs, we'll
Mutual support group.
uh,
If you
we'll
could say
Anonymous.
like it's summary, say like it's a summary only, like whatever people post there, it's got to be a really tiny short summary
idea,
or.
Did you, Pete, I'm sorry, RJ, did you see or hear the audio that I posted yesterday of my, I
I
posted,
have not.
okay, well, I'm sorry, I posted an audio that I created on 11 Labs for like a commercial type of thing. And it was pretty good. It sounded very natural. And I'm like, oh, I could use that instead of having to talk for myself. Anyway.
Oh, that's a goal I want to get to. I
Did
mean,
you-
for sure, where
should-
I don't have to, I can just write my scripts.
you
feed 'em
should
in.
listen to it. I mean, it's only
I'm
like
going over there right now. I didn't yet. I'm dialing in.
Oh, okay. Pete, you should
And another alternative, and I hope you guys have noticed this, but I've been posting these animated GIF files that explain things. Like I did one for Cindy because when Cindy was on her last call, she wanted to make mushroom comic strip that talked.
Right.
And so that very day, I put one together that explained how to do that. And the nice thing about those animated GIF files is you look at them and they show you exactly what to do step by step, and then they cycle over and over and over because I have it set to, replay. So you can learn something very quickly. And I did something very similar for somebody who asked a question in help about how to copy long prompts that are in Mighty Network comments, because they were
Oh, I
saying,
saw
hey, you
that.
click
really
on the
cool.
prompt and then it expands so you can read it all, but then you try to click on it to copy it and it goes back to the condensed version and it was driving them crazy. And that's
Mhm.
something that's very hard to explain by just talking. So if I were to have recorded something, it would have had to have been a video, but instead I just took some quick screenshots and then I uploaded those to easygif.com and it created, that's it. And so in a nutshell, that explains right away exactly what a person has to do to copy a long prompt that somebody pasted like Ted.
Mhm.
So that's another possibility
That was good, RJ.
to help
Yeah, it
people.
was.
Yeah, it was good.
And Cindy, I hope you saw the one I made on making mushroom comic characters, because you could do that exactly with the other one that I posted too.
I saw it, but I haven't gone and done the reenactment yet.
Hey,
Danielle, where is yours? I
okay,
don't
it's
see
in
it.
irregulars.
Oh.
Would you look at it? Would you mind? I'm not trying to like toot my own horn here. It's in irregulars though.
In share?
Yeah, it's in shared cool things. If you
Okay.
scroll down, it's a keep going.
I'm looking.
How fast should I scroll?
I don't know how fast.
I think you can look
there
up
it is,
by-
right there, right
Oh,
there.
there it is.
Yeah. Click
Okay.
I think if I click on this, I don't have audio shared. I could
Oh.
reshare with audio. Let me do it real quick.
Additionally, many have found it
Oops.
Okay.
I found
Yeah,
it.
but I made sure to put things in quotes when I pasted it in there so it had like good pauses on 11 Labs.
What the heck?
Traditionally, many have found it easy to outsource tasks like lawn care, simplifying life and saving time. But what about the endless laundry that often consumes our weekends? Why hasn't this everyday task found its modern solution, especially for women who juggle full-time jobs and household chores? At Fold Rush Laundry, we believe it's time to balance the scales. Our wash and fold delivery service is designed to free up your weekends, giving you back the hours spent on laundry. Because everyone deserves to rest, relax, and enjoy their free time. With Fold Rush, you can skip the sorting and folding and get straight to doing what you love. It's not just about washing clothes. It's about creating equality in how we manage our time at home. Let us handle the laundry. You handle enjoying your life. Fold Rush Laundry, transforming necessity into convenience for everyone.
Danielle,
Nice.
that was really cool, but I want to point out one thing that maybe you should just be aware of is that most people, at least as far as YouTube goes, they don't listen to the audio on purpose. It seems like there's a big major trend for people to want to watch things and read captions as opposed to listen to things. So just letting you know, if you're going to rely on audio only, that might turn off a big population of the people in general.
No, I was gonna add, I think I put in the comments of that somewhere, like, oh, okay, well, now I gotta figure out what to put for visuals and put I was gonna plan on putting captioning as well. So, but that
Yeah,
was,
and your visuals should always be primary. I mean, if you go look and search on this, you'll find tons of evidence. Like, people do not like to watch videos and listen to the audio. They like to watch videos and they like to turn the sound off. I don't know why that is, but like there's tons and tons of evidence for that. So just to
I
let you
always
know.
put captioning on, even though I have perfect hearing. I always put captioning on when I'm watching TV.
Me too.
I do the
Vicky?
same thing.
I do too. Always.
Vicky?
I want to add, there is nothing more annoying than going to a YouTube video that's explaining something where the person is not talking.
Yeah,
So
totally
two
fair.
sides to that story.
Right, because sometimes I don't want to watch the screen. I want to hear what's you know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
I'm getting ready, I want to hear what's
Exactly, because I can't follow someone's mouse around a screen and know what they're doing if they're not telling me what they're doing. And I'm not going to open
So-
another window that has comments in it. So
Anyway, I was just proud of myself that I figured that out on 11 Labs. And I mean, I know it needs a lot of tweaking and all, but anyway, okay, we need to get off of this tangent of not letting Pete teach us. I'm sorry. I'm gonna shut my mouth now.
No, this is a great tangent. So we need a place where we can share. Actually, I would be just as interested in discussing like what to do, what not to do, when to do audio only,
Yeah.
when to do video only, all that kind of stuff. I've got a couple people on the place where I see things like TikTok. It's actually YouTube Shorts for whatever reason. So there's a couple on YouTube Shorts where they it's perfect, and they've got a whole bunch of them. Well, one of them is somebody who's drawing on Procreate, and she does a 30-second demonstration of a video or something like that. Anyway, so I would love to see people's the favorite examples that you've seen.
This really should be a part of Mighty Networks. This really, like, making social media content with AI incorporated. It really needs to be a part of the
Do you mean AI Salon or Mighty
well,
Networks?
part of the AI salon, I mean.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, totally
this
agree.
whole what we're talking about, I think.
Maybe some
So-
of us should talk with the organizers.
How about
and-
you? You're an
or
organizer.
me.
We're talking about it.
Well, Danielle, you
I'm
make me
actually a
think of-
guild leader.
No, you're more than
so-
that, Pete. You're more than that.
So the guild leaders should get together and talk to organizers, and there's enough like
Organizer,
crossover
let's
in.
Okay, I'm stopping now.
I'm
But
an
we'll-
organizer.
But it should be very easy to do because posting stuff to YouTube is like a pain in the neck. It should be something, the barriers for doing it should be very low. The bar should be very low. Just simple, quick, and easy to do, not have to go through a lot of YouTube. In fact, Peter, I feel sorry for a lot of this stuff that you're doing because it seems like it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I have a short comment about YouTube. Posting YouTube videos is actually not a lot of work, but there's enough fiddly little bits that I have to get into headspace, the right headspace to do it. So I procrastinate. It's easy to procrastinate. It's not hard to do, but it's easy to procrastinate. So another thing, thinking about doing this in AI Salon, the Mighty Network support for sharing video and audio and stuff like that is just really, really bad. So I think maybe we need to fall back on the Discord, or maybe we need, I don't know, something kind of what RJ said. I'm actually fine having it hard to post stuff to social media because you just figure out how to do it and you just do it. You sit down and, you know, do chores. But for the discussion group, it would be really nice to be able to share, you know, like short videos that you can actually play and, you know, or audio you don't have to download and stuff like that. Well,
You can
I
load, videos. They're just going to be, you know, they won't be showing up on a player. So you can load a really tiny video, an MP4 or whatever, but they won't show up
yeah,
with a
it's
player that you can play them in. When you click on it, it'll download to your PC. It'll only be like a minute or whatever.
yeah, total BS. Mighty Networks just doesn't. You know, same comment for image sharing too. You know, our image sharing on Mighty Networks is hard, and you can only share like one, or you know, like,
Yeah, you
or
have to create an
they're all below
article.
the fold, and you can't do a
Mhm.
gallery and like. So anyway, I will push this forward. I will ask for help for some of you, and I'm going to get started even before or maybe a different way to say that. At least Cindy and me and Danielle, we're going to be doing these short videos, and we're going to have each other's back to like say, dude, where's your video? I don't know why you haven't posted it yet.
Well, and
Um,
here's the other thing that I've been thinking about these video things is we need to figure out for the community how to post. So that's step one for sure. We got to solve this. And I want to have discussion with all kinds of people about this too, because I hardly ever post my Suno either, because it's such a pain in the ass for me to like, it's not easy. And I see people doing it and I'm like, mine never works like that. So there's that, super important. And then part two, I just want to throw this out there. You know, Danielle, to your point about, you know, we need a group or something for that. One thing I just want to share really quick is Kyle and I are going to stand up a group yet to be named that is some kind of like make things like that, like you're saying, that are professional, that are products or process or something. We're trying to get at the heart of it. So there's going to be a place for that kind of stuff, because we all think it would be really great, just like Pete is doing over here with this, building this sort of repository, so I can come in and I can catch back up, doing stuff like that for all that stuff. So then the other thing I wanted to say to Danielle and Pete, if you're making all these videos, you should make them and then stitch them and then go and put that on Vimeo for sale. And if you're curious about that, I'm happy to help, because that's what a group of us just did. Are stitched together. It's me and Kyle and Anne and Suzanne, Scott and Josh, and we all made videos, and I hired a designer to stitch them together because I didn't know how to do it, and she made these fun little logo things, and it would be live right now, except for I didn't set up my Vimeo payment shit properly, so I'm the delay, I'm the problem, it's me. But as soon as that goes through, we're gonna have that as a group, and that's gonna be round one. We have 3 more coming. And literally it's the same thing like the two of you are talking about is, oh, what if we just generously made, you know, 10 or 15 little videos for our friends here? Well, cool, awesome. And then what if you push them together, stitch them, and then you had them for sale for people? So I just want to throw that out, that that's something that Kyle and I have been trying to figure out how to kind of form a group so that people can come in, get help. I want to make these video series. How do I do it? And same thing, like you're talking about, Danielle, of like social media stuff. So make those videos and then we'll all help you get them on Vimeo. And that's the other thing I was going to say is, you know, we can I'm sitting here contemplating my own place. So do I want to put them like unlisted on my YouTube, or do I want to put them as go ahead freebie fun things to see on my Vimeo when I'm trying to sell talking about AI? So I can have Vimeo free 2 minutes that I do with this group to show I'm playing, I'm practicing, look what I'm doing. And then I can have a video series over here where you can pay me to learn. So I don't know anything about any of this. It's just when you guys said that, I was like, there is a group of us who are trying to figure this out together. And as soon as we do, we can turn right in your direction and help you guys do it too. So
It sounds
Thanks,
good.
Cindy.
yeah, so I think I'm gonna, like, sitting in this conversation, I think I've made a decision that I'm gonna do Vimeo. And I'm gonna use my little practices over there for free things to look at, because I don't have any reason someone other than you all would go to my YouTube. And then if you go to my YouTube, even if you don't know me, then where do you go and what's the benefit? What am I gaining? Even if I'm just practicing and playing. I just realized if I put mine on Vimeo, could I then link to the Mighty Networks? Would that be better? But
I
I don't know.
thank you, Cindy. So I'm on a parallel track. My solution is Gumroad in the back end instead of Vimeo, which doesn't matter too much either way. You know, actually, there's a lot of cool things about Gumroad. And I'd love to demo it, but I don't want to turn it into a commercial. So, so maybe we'll have another I'll have another session where I demo. So the value of doing it on Gumroad is you could pay for a set of videos that are stitched together, or you can actually post them individually. You can post other things too, like image files. I'm selling. I've got a membership where I send out, so you can also distribute files and send emails. So some of us are customers of Pete's Midjourney, you know, art every week product, and I'm going to keep doing more of those. So that's a reason maybe to. All the solutions are going to be good and bad for different things, right? Gumroad is good for a certain set of things. Vimeo is going to be good for a certain set of things. So the for sale part for me is going to be Gumroad. I'm going to host that. I would love to talk to you and Kyle and whoever else about also getting it on Vimeo. And then I know that I'm going to make some of the free ones on YouTube Shorts. And the reason I would put them on YouTube Shorts is because I've got a wish that the algorithm would put them in front of more people, basically. So the algorithm on, you know, Vimeo, it doesn't have a traffic stream that they can start to push over to you, right? And then I hope someday I'll graduate to TikTok too, right? Because then the algorithm is even more awesomer. So I think another reason to do YouTube, and there's a question of whether maybe you want to do YouTube Shorts only, maybe you want to do YouTube only, probably you want to do both. A reason to do YouTube is because you can embed a YouTube video pretty much anywhere, probably more places than you can embed a Vimeo, right? So you embed the YouTube short on LinkedIn or, you know, other communities along with Mighty Networks. Love to figure all this out. So the very first thing is I'm going to commit to making like 2 or 3 at least Jankifier. Here's how to use a Jankifier. Here's how to make a Jankifier, you know, video, 90 seconds. It's going to get up on YouTube at least. I don't know about YouTube Shorts. I don't know. I'm all set up for the landscape aspect ratio. Let's see. Let me make a quick note here. Landscape versus portrait. Love it. Thanks, Cindy. Thanks, Danielle. I'm going to bug you guys if you're not
Well,
making
I
videos.
appreciate this conversation too. I'm so glad that I was able to jump in today, because I think it's
It's
something
awesome. Thank you.
we're all trying to figure out. And so
Yep.
figuring it out together is far more fun.
And then we'll make videos about how we figured it out together, and then we'll
Yeah,
put
yeah,
those on.
exactly.
We'll have shouts out to each other.
Because listen,
name
if
checks.
there were an easy solution, you know, amongst all of us who are actively playing in this space, we would have been sharing it by now. There really isn't a perfect
not easy.
solution right now. There just
Yeah.
isn't.
And the other rule I have, or the other the other hypothesis I have is that you have to do it in multi-platform.
Yeah.
And
So
you know,
I'm
it's
curious about that. Actually, is it? I guess it's totally fine, right? Like I could have accounts on Gumroad too, and I could
yep,
have it for sale on Vimeo, have it for sale on Gumroad. Like
yep,
it's just like having it for a book for sale anywhere else. It's irrelevant.
exactly. Yep.
So you've totally inspired me because I went to your demo, whatever, a month or plus ago, or I don't know, somebody did Gumroad. I don't know if that was you or not, but
Might have been me. Yeah.
it might have been you. It was a while ago. And so I took notes on all of that. And I kept thinking I had to make a decision between the two. But I think for a while, I should just run it on both and see what happens. Because I'm also curious about these other features. And there's some stuff that's going to be dissatisfying in both platforms, but maybe
Yep.
I can scratch this itch here and this itch here.
Yep.
I like this. I like the idea of the multi-platform is going to be really important.
Yep.
Okay.
Can I jump in real quick?
Please, Danielle.
Regarding, I'm sorry, let me lower my hand. So I know that with TikTok, they are part of CapCut, and they will push out more of your stuff if you record with CapCut and upload with that. So, and I know that I'm pretty sure it's easier to upload in a certain format on when I did a video one time with that little Adobe voice to
Oh yeah,
animate
Express
thing.
Mhm.
It had to be in a certain special format in order for it to click automatically and start playing. And I'll have to find out. Digital Gods gave me the correct format to put it in, but it was kind of tricky. But yeah, there's certain Mighty Networks is a pain when it comes to posting. But I don't know if it's as big of a deal when it comes to posting like on LinkedIn regarding YouTube links. Does it matter what type of format it's in, or
The cool thing is if it's a YouTube, then it's going to play everywhere, kind of.
okay. So then yeah. So but I
Well,
know
I think I'm gonna do it all. You changed my
Yeah.
mind, Pete. You straight up changed
Yeah.
my mind. I am gonna post my play videos on the free space on Vimeo because I'll be over there posting stuff
Yep.
for sale. And
Yep.
then I'll post what the hell? Why am
Yep.
I limiting? I mean, I thought I had to pick a lane. I do not.
Yep.
You have changed my mind.
Awesome.
Big time. Seriously, this is like that was worth the price of admission today. You've really helped me see it. I mean, it's so funny. Like that's what I would do, but for some reason, when I get in the video space, I've got this weird block. I see it. You're fabulous, Pete.
Thank you, Cindy. Um, I wonder if this is the one. No, I don't. Well, I don't know. Thanks for mentioning CapCut, Danielle. And I'd known that it works better for the algorithm if you use CapCut on TikTok, but it hadn't really clicked. There's also, CapCut is a good video editing solution. DaVinci Resolve is also a good editing solution.
heard that's harder though. I heard it's harder to use for
For
someone like me.
well, so I tried CapCut, DaVinci Resolve, and then one more, and I forget what it is. I'll try to add it in here. AVI Demux is also a really good editing tool. It's super basic, but if you just want to splice things together, it's actually very useful.
So two
so-
other things too. If you have Adobe and you can use that Adobe Express, the person who's in AI Salon who just stitched our videos together, she did it in Adobe Express, and I
Yeah.
just had a call with her yesterday, and she told me she has discovered that she thinks next time, if they're shorter, that she can do it also in Canva.
Yeah,
So-
I heard you can record in Canva now.
Yeah, you can now do the whole suite of video stuff in Canva. It's bringing, loading in video and stitching them or recording right in there. So that's brand new. I haven't
But-
used it.
But does that cost though? You
Well,
know?
it costs the $7 a month, yeah. If you
Okay.
pay for that. I know, it's like everything in our world is like $7, $10.
CapCut's free.
$12.
CapCut's free.
Yeah, Canva
Uh,
is
Unless you go to the pro version, but everything's,
Yeah.
yeah, everybody wants your money, so.
everybody.
So the three I tried real quick, it was CapCut, DaVinci Resolve, and then one more. I forget what it is. I don't think it's Wondershare. They're all about the same level of difficulty. So I also was doing the desktop one. If you were on mobile, maybe CapCut would be easier. The problem I had with CapCut is I was trying to edit one of these session videos. It's an hour and a half. CapCut works, but it lags just enough. Like you scrub over to the right place and it catches up after a few seconds, but that's enough to kind of like make it really hard to use. So the functionality of it looked really good. And if I were editing like a couple, like 10 minutes or less, CapCut, I probably would have kept going with it. I'm switching over to Resolve to edit, to work on this long thing like this. Awesome. This has been a great conversation. Thanks all. Let's talk about Jenkifiers. So let me go over this real quick. I would like to get more people making them, but maybe that's not a thing. I don't know. One of the things that I think is really important is setting them up to be. Let's pick Janky Ramifier. I think it's important, and we can
Sorry.
talk about this. Go
I
ahead.
was hoping you
Danielle.
would try the one the rhymer one. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Let's see, let's get some good text, and let me just grab a prompt here. This is kind of a copy prompt. So the way it works, well, there you go. I'm not going to try to read it. But let me actually copy this.
Can I
and
say
put it
something real
into-
quick?
Yes, please.
As a teacher, there's like different types of like when you're like when kids are learning how to, different phonemic awareness type of things, like it didn't have to make sense. The word, like, give me a word that rhymes with cat, and they could or smell. It could be schmell. It didn't matter if it made sense. It just had
Yep.
to be something that rhymed. So it's fine. That's why I like that the words can be made up words.
Mhm.
Some of these are a little bit hard to guess how to pronounce. So, although some of them are really cool. So, the janky rhymes are because I specifically, we talked about this last time. The JavaScript that we're using, I'm trying to keep it really lightweight and not have additional libraries. And so computers that aren't LLMs are really stupid. So they understand characters, they don't understand meanings of words or what the words sound like or anything like that. So the background of this is really easy. So let me show you. I was talking about publishing, so I think it's important to publish these as open source and to add a little bit of cross promotion, maybe, is a way to think about this, and also documentation. So this goes back to, it's like, oh, okay, I get what this is. So if you land on this one, I want at least a few links. So that process adds weight to the, let me try to do view page source. The process of publication adds weight, right, to the process of making them. So on all of my Jenkifiers, I make sure there's a copyright notice like that at the top. Copyright is important for making it open source. Then there's at the bottom, I add this. And then I make sure to add version numbers. We could talk about why that's important someday. and that version number goes in 2 places, the title goes in 2 places, and all of a sudden it's gotten kind of complicated, right? So there's making a Jenkifier, which is like a 10-second job, and then there's like getting it ready for publication, which is like a 2-minute job, and you have to like, so it wouldn't be that hard to either tweak the prompt a little bit, or my idea was to have a Jenkifier that helps you publish Jenkifiers. So that's in the category of better publishing tools. The more consistent interface, I specifically kind of they look a little bit different. The text boxes are different sizes. The fonts, some of them have really lousy fonts. Some of them only have, instead of really lousy, they're just lousy. They don't have much decoration. I've kept them that way because I want to be inspirational, that it's okay to be janky and that it's okay to make it work. And that's much more important than whether or not they look the same or whether or not they're, so. Let me go over this real quick. These are top of mind things for Jenkifiers for me, and I'm looking for input from y'all. A thing that I would super love to do, Unix, which is the old kind of operating system, it's still underneath the Mac, and when you do the terminal line, it's actually Unix you're talking to, or Linux kind of. It's got this thing where the idea was to make tiny little tools that you run pipes between. So you literally on Unix, the whole thing is set up. So you do this to some text and then pipe it to another thing that does something with the text, and pipes it to another thing that does something with the text. It would be so awesome if, I don't know, like if there was a list of Jenkifiers, or if there was some way to load one Jenkifier inside the other Jenkifier, so that you start with a prompt and then you do rhymifying to it, and then you do interleaving to it, and then you do, and I don't know, that's a dream I've got. I've also got a dream to do a super Jenkifier, which is maybe a different way to do it, to like be able to grab the Jenkifying code out of each of the Jenkifiers and put it together in one interface. And then, you do a pull down, or you do checkboxes or something like that, and it runs them all kind of at once. Someday we're going to have a quick HTML lesson about how to walk through this thing and like kind of blur your eyes around the gory parts, and just look for, like, if you want to make a quick change to this, I think probably if you don't know some HTML, you go, this is all gobbledygook, Pete. I don't know where, the whole thing is scary. I don't want to look at it. Just please put it away. It turns out if you know a little bit of, it's kind of like knowing a little bit of the landmarks in a new city or something like that. If you know the dodgy places to stay away from, like stay away from this, man. But the title thing and the H1 thing and the P things, go to town. You can change this stuff all you want, and it's actually like good, So so the title of this section of the call is Whither Jenkifiers. Whither means where is it going? Where are we going with Jenkifiers? Do you all want to make Jenkifiers? Do you want to make little ones like you come up with an idea off the top of your head and you go to ChatGPT or whatever and you say blah and you get one, and then you're using it like within 30 seconds? Is that a cool thing, or should I try to level these up and have more production quality or something like that?
I like the first thing.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Well, because you leveling it up, I don't know where you're leveling to.
It just gets farther and farther away from easy. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I would love. I'm game.
Okay, so that's great. So that was my hope too.
I would like to see some explanations for what these things are actually doing. So I would like to see like some experiments. Let's make a Jenkifier that does a certain experiment, and let's figure out what it's doing. Is it actually paying attention to our prompt anymore, or is it ignoring our prompt, or is it creating a pattern of output based on this particular mode of Jenkifying? Is Jenkifying creating predictable results in some way? Or is it just creating a lot of really interesting images, perhaps because the prompt is being ignored because it's nonsense, and we've just found a strange way of getting large language AI model image models to make interesting pictures, but we don't know. I mean, because people want to be able to control images too, besides create amazing images that they don't understand
Yep.
why they're so amazing. They also want to now be able to control them. So do I go back to Jenkifier A to do a certain kind of drawing?
Yep.
Can Jenkifiers be considered as a tool, or is it just a way to create a whole bunch of images that are pretty, and then but you don't want to have the time to write prompts for, but instead you've figured out a way to tap into image models to create pretty images. Sorry about that.
No, I love
I
it,
just had
RJ.
to get
Thank
all
you.
that out. This has been driving me crazy for weeks.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I actually can explain a lot of that, how, what Jenkified prompts do in Midjourney especially. And it's interesting, and you're totally right. There are definitely, depending on what you want, you pick different Jenkifiers, and some of them, like Essifier Plain is almost useless. Essifier S is a little bit better, and why would you pick one or the other, and what's the difference that happens with Midjourney or DALL-E or whatever. Very, very useful, very important. Let's spend like 5 more minutes doing Jenkifier stuff and then switch to LLMs. And I'm going to do kind of a quick brain dump on a lot of LLM stuff, and then we'll dig into that in the coming weeks. There's a lot of, I think, pretty good news with LLMs, and not, I mean, the news is like 6 months old. It's stuff that we've been kind of thinking about and wondering about. I've done some of the homework we talked about at some point. I've got a lot of stuff to share and stuff we can poke around for the next couple months. So is there somebody who wants to write a Jenkifier on their computer and share their screen?
I mean, I'll try. I feel like, where do I start? Oh my God, what am I signing up for?
If you can share your screen, and if you've got ChatGPT, then we're good to go.
All right. I'm like, you're gonna see my 1,000 tabs.
I was like, I was the same. I was in your
Yeah.
same boat.
I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Okay. Oh, look, you're okay.
So I'm a little torn about, so let's think about this before we do anything, which, by the way, is a great ChatGPT topic, or a great LLM thing, right? Let's think about what we're doing, and then I'm going to ask you a question. Let's think about this just for a little bit. There's 2 ways to proceed right now. I can say like a sentence or something, and Cindy can kind of type it in, and then we're off to the races. A different way to do it is to go look at the Jenkifier page and get a sample of what we want to type in. I think the first way is actually better, because the trick is, like you're walking your dog and you want to just remember a few things. And I think the way to model that is to do it voice and just try to remember that rather than look at the instructions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'll kind of, by memory, I'll kind of just like give you a sentence, and then you type it in, and then we're off to the races.
Okay.
So it's something like, you can type while I'm typing too, write a single HTML file with JavaScript, probably period. Let the user blah. So we should have done, we're doing this in a little bit out of order, which is fine. What we should have done is thought through what our Jenkifier is actually going to do, because now we're to the point where we need to tell it what to do. So let's brainstorm a new Jenkifying operation real quick.
Okay.
One of the things to do is get inspired by the existing Jenkifiers. So I've got an idea, but I don't want to blurt it out first. And it's not the one that we should use necessarily.
How about one that randomly adds in a word in a different language, maybe Swahili or something like that? Would that work?
I like it. Let's.
It still treats it as English, just so you know.
Midjourney or Dolly?
Either
Or
you'll just transfer the language to English.
good point. Vicky's like thinking ahead.
How about we
this-
always like, can we do something to raccoonify?
Yes, we could. I like that.
Because that would be really random. I mean, that would be a good experiment, because can we find language to tell it to like let the user, how do I say it now? Raccoonify how?
Let me,
it-
before we get too far away, let me write down Paul's suggestion, which I think is a good one. Randomly insert words from another language. Vicky noted that there's kind of a operational problem with that. The LLMs don't really care what language you're talking in, and if you switch languages in the middle, it's like, I understand what they meant.
Yeah, it's the same with when you write it backwards. It automatically switches it to forwards. So
yeah, or
it's
putting the
not-
S's in at the end. It's still something to play around with. I would like to play around with that sometime.
What
So
about
now,
adding a random art style or art movement?
I like that. Yeah, that's a really good one. Add a random art style. I think since we're on Cindy's computer, she gets to pick, and I think she's going to pick Raccoonify, right?
Well, it's a great story in AI Salon to keep the brain going.
Kyle's gonna love it.
So, so how does Raccoonifying work?
Right. So my thinking is, how do I tell it somehow, somewhere there has to be, is
How-
it an go.
How a raccoon would act, how they would think, how they would smell, how they would look, how
Oh
they
my
would
gosh.
behave. Change anything in the prompt to that type of. I'm just throwing out ideas. I'm sorry for interrupt. I just thought that's what.
No, I need that. I don't
Those
know.
are great ideas. I had a much simpler, so I don't know the raccoon story from AI Salon. So I had a much simpler idea for raccoonifying things. You could just randomly insert the word raccoon in the prompt, or raccoons, or I don't know, masks, or you could also do,
verbiage.
what's that, Vicky?
Raccoon related verbiage.
Yeah, so there you go. Let's go with, I
Okay.
think Vicky's thing will work.
Why you gotta
Let the
make it so
user,
simple, Vicky? Why?
Yeah,
let
I'm
the
sitting here
user
writing knowledge
enter,
articles as we talk, so that's why it like just converted over.
I'm all thinking like. So,
let the user enter text. And then there's, from doing a couple Jenkifiers, I know there's a thing with proportion. You want to get enough stuff Jenkified, but you don't want too much stuff Jenkified, kind of, if that makes sense. So the thing I'm starting to use is something like between half the words, between about half of the words, add raccoon related verbiage, something like that, right? And
What bird is this?
and then display the output. and copy it to the clipboard. So we missed one step, which is press a button. So before display the output, when the user presses the Raccoonify button,
I haven't written that word yet. Okay.
comma. Okay, so does that make sense how we got to this prompt?
Yes.
Are there any? So
This single HTML file with JavaScript. Let the user enter the text, and for about half of the words, add raccoon-related verbiage. When the user presses the Raccoonify button, display the output and copy it to the clipboard. Okay. That makes sense to me.
so
What's that?
then hit send.
Okay. And I don't know why this thing is up here. I can't make it go away now, but okay.
ChatGPT is so chatty sometimes.
You can tell it no yapping and it cuts it down.
You
Sorry,
can,
I-
except my custom instructions are all about being my friend. So if you're ever gonna look at my screen, you're gonna have to endure that. Chat is like in my house, mom's boyfriend, and we have a full relationship and we're very chatty. So just
That's
look over.
hilarious.
It's my fault. I cause it. Listen, I'm a solo entrepreneur. I work alone. Having chat, like, get real like friendly with me is delightful. Okay.
This is helpful. So it's nice that you.
That I have it do this for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So scroll up now and click copy on that thing. There's in the upper right of that
Where is it?
box,
Oh, there it is. Oh,
copy
I'm
code.
used to it being at the bottom. That's cool.
It's different for
Copy.
the kind of thing.
Okay. All right.
So then you want to make a new text file. So what text editor do you use?
I don't know. I haven't done anything. This is why I'm like on Saturdays I go, oh shit. This is why I call Vicky and go, Vicky, will you help me with some stuff that I pretended like I was gonna no shit, she'll tell you that I would pretended I was gonna do because I know HTML code, but then we might
So everybody's in their browser nowadays, and so create a text file is a thing of the past. I used to think this was like everybody knew how to do this because 10 years ago everybody did. It's not so much of a thing anymore.
right.
Um,
So my next step would
so
be
let's do a different. So actually, let's do that maybe, or I'll explain how to do that, and you don't even have to do it, Cindy, unless you feel so inspired. So what you want to do is open your text editor. If you don't have one, a favorite one, there's a built-in one. On the Mac, it's called TextEdit. On Windows, it's called Notepad. So you would open TextEdit, create a new file, paste it in. So you don't, here it would be TextEdit because you're on a Mac.
I meant to do that. It's because you said I use TextEdit. I'm sorry.
So let's do a different one. Let's do a different. So you get the point, and we've done this before,
Yeah, and here, I won't make you
and
guys
Pete will
wait.
make a 90-second video or whatever. Hey Serena, it's good to see you.
Here. Okay, you keep going while I go get
There's
my
a
together.
different way to do it, a different, maybe even better way to do it. So let's
Okay.
just do the different, better way to do it.
Okay.
Go back to ChatGPT. I found this one by accident actually, and then I'm like,
Okay.
wow. But you have to share your screen so we can
Oh,
see what
right.
you're doing, if that's
Sorry,
okay.
guys. Yeah. Okay, I'm back.
Now say make that file downloadable or something like that. Let me download that file. So it hadn't even occurred to me to do this, but luckily it did it by itself when I was on my phone. So this actually works. This works great on an Android phone. I'm not sure about an iPhone yet. I haven't tried it. but I was able to run my Jankifier on my phone after I created it in like 30 seconds without all the, change the dot txt dot the blah blah
Okay,
blah.
save it to your computer and then open it to a web browser.
Yep. So it's got to go through this part. It's actually writing a little Python code to be able to write the thing to an HTML file in its compute environment, and then it'll be ready to download. So this is a reason not to do this little delay here, but it's usually not this slow.
I remember, I'm on the side of a mountain, and while I have Starlink, it's still hamsters on my roof.
I
steering
think it's
me.
not on your computer. I think it's in the cloud,
Oh, you do?
and it just took a long.
Okay.
So now click on that link,
And this link starting download. There it is.
and then click there. There you go.
That's so much better. Because I was like, text edit. Jesus, where's my shit? I haven't used it in a while. Oh my God. Oh my God.
So now grab some text
Okay.
from Zoom chat or type
Oh,
some
wait.
in or whatever.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so excited. Where do I go? Go grab something. Sorry, I can't get back to my. Okay. Listen, I'll do-
Raccoonify? Really?
Raccoonify.
Yeah.
Really?
Because it's based on a joke inside AI Salon that's from Kyle's TikToks. Whenever he.
Oh, no, I get it.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm just like, really?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna go over. Oh, sorry. In here, let me just go grab like some random.
It's just
something.
like Jenkify. It's got to have the "ify" at the end.
Right.
It makes it more janky.
Okay, so here we go. Is that too much?
No, that's a good amount.
Okay. Oh.
Yay. So before you click OK, there's a couple things. So we weren't, you typed when the user pressed Raccoonify button or something like that, I would usually put Raccoonify in double quotes. And so it got over literal, and it made the button say button, which is fine. It's actually kind of
because
cool.
I
Maybe
didn't put Raccoonify in button. It's actually kind of cute though. It's
it
like,
is kind of cute. It's kind of
for
janky.
this, I think it
it's
works,
kinda
but I'm
cute.
glad you said that. Next time I need to put the name of it. Okay.
Another thing that ChatGPT kind of likes to do when you do a Jankifier like this, and you say and copy it to the clipboard, it likes to make sure that the user knows that it got copied to the clipboard, which actually is kind of a nice thing. But as a Jankify user, it's like, oh, please, I do not need another button to press. Don't make that happen. So nowadays when I do a Jankifier, if I remember, I'll say copy to the clipboard, don't make an alert or something like that, right? That pop-up is called an alert in JavaScript. So you would say don't make an alert or something.
Okay.
Fun.
So
it's got Omnivore a lot in there, Nocturnal and Bandit. I'm pretty happy with it. What do you think?
No, I think it's delightful. And also whispered to the scavenger, the bandit.
Yeah, she Omnivore whispered to the
Nocturnal,
scavenger of the night
pause,
bandit.
mask,
Yeah,
and
it's pretty
mask.
awesome, I have to say.
That really, look at that. That's so much fun. Now, this is why I wanted to do this. And I'm so grateful you let me be the walkthrough. Everyone, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. This is what I needed. Here, I'll just take it off now that
Click OK,
and just
yeah.
let me say my thank you. Honestly, because why I wanted to participate in this fun and my block, you saw what would happen. Like I understood, and then I was like, where am I going?
Yep.
Shit, now what do I do
Yep.
with this?
Yep.
Is the reason I'm excited about this for myself is I have been joining all the different writing clubs and stuff because I'm a technical writer, and I technical write all day, every day, and that's great, except my spirit wants to creative write. And that tool right there, and me making more of them, allows me to, I'm trying to do everything I can to take anywhere I'm thinking and give me anything to push me into weird directions. And I have whole creative series I've developed out of those kind of things that just slightly, like that one's funny because it's a raccoon, but what if I do it for like my character?
Yep.
And so like I have a sentence, right? And I have a scout Jankifier. And then that, you know, and that scout thinks on behalf. It's like, it's just so good. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
You're
And you
welcome.
helped me with the missing piece that I kept getting stuck when I was alone. And you can do it all in Chat GPT. I just feel like, okay, I'm going to shut up now, you guys. I'm so excited. I'm so thankful. Thank you.
So what do you think? Do you want me to publish that for you?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Needs
You
to
gotta
make the
publish
image.
that.
Make the image. Make the image with your prompt. I'm dying to see
Then
the
Danielle's on
Oh,
tenterhooks.
I was like, what? Oh, I
make the
understand.
image. I'm
Oh,
sitting here like,
here. Sorry, I
I
got
think
so excited
Cindy's
about
gonna
finding
use Jankifiers in her writing, creative
in
writing.
writing, but
well,
here,
make
I
it, make
know.
an image from
I
it.
will. I'm gonna do it right now. Look, I'm gonna go to it. I'm gonna
Keith,
go to
did you think she was gonna say no? Just toss it.
Go to
No, I know she's gonna
go to
keep it. I
Dolly.
don't know if she wants
Journey.
to share it.
No, oh, I was gonna say paste it in the Dolly. I want to see. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
I'll
I'm
put
putting
it
a
in Dolly.
tantrum. I want to see.
There's a trick we kind of needed with Dolly, right? It's like, I
When you
forget
go
what
to
it was.
when you use Dolly, it'll give you 2 images rather than using ChatGPT. When you hit the
Yeah, but
Oh, yeah,
Danielle, Jankifiers
do
have
it
become an
next.
end unto
Sorry.
themselves now. We don't really care about the images anymore.
I do.
I do too. I do
Some
too.
of
I
us
just
are
got so
visual
excited.
and we want the
I'm
Yes.
image.
just kidding.
And here's what I'll do too. I'll take it off screen and offline too. And I'll use that same, I'll go do it in, I don't have the 1,000-person mid journey like some fancy people. I still have to go through
Like
Discord.
some
so-
people.
Cindy, you know that when you hit when
Oh,
you know that when you use
Look
Dolly.
at the heart.
Oh, how
Oh, and look,
cute!
so here's what's incredible. That's like, let me see. So the actual story about $2 Betty is she creates a community singing circle. So it totally picked up just from my little words there. I'm very pleased.
Cindy, do you realize that you can make 2 images when you use Dolly?
Yes, I
Okay.
know. Sorry.
I'm just sure. I want people to
I
realize
did.
that they do that because I don't.
You're just super advanced for the rest of us. I use regular ChatGPT too.
I
I'm
use
like,
it all. I just got
more
so
bang for your-
excited that I jankified myself that I'm just blissful.
that was
So you've got the HTML file in your downloads. Anytime you click on that, it'll open and you can just do it, right? Do you want to, if you look in your downloads folder, do you want to drag it into chat and share it with us that way?
Oh, what do you mean?
Do you want to
Hold on,
do you want to
hold
share your screen again?
Yep, I'm sharing. Sorry, I keep stop sharing because I think I'm done, but okay. All right, so now what happens is you want me to drag it or do I do this? Because it's right there.
Yeah, right there.
Okay,
Um,
now what?
That's cool. I don't even know. That blows my mind thinking about what is going to happen. I actually meant something different. If you
Oh.
go to where you find your files on your computer, which is Finder, which you may or may not know that as a name, and you may or may not
Yeah.
use it.
I use Finder sometimes. What am I? The files on the desktop though, because I have it set up to dump on my desktop, which is why it's such a
Okay.
mess, 'cause
So
I'm-
if you just grab it, and I think if you drag it over the Zoom chat and drop it, it'll let you post it to us, is where I'm going with it.
Oh, jeez. I was like getting all fancy there. Oh, hold on. Let me get you guys
So
back.
someday we'll do that. Someday we'll give ChatGPT a Jankifier HTML. And
So you just
actually,
want me to put that in the chat.
yes. Sorry
Wow.
to not explain it very
You
well.
have to stop to get back to the chat.
This gave me an idea.
Now I understand.
We should do this with other animals.
I mean, it would be very appropriate for the zoo that goes on.
I vote frogs.
Get it done. Make one.
I want a frog Jankifier.
Okay, there.
So
I
you
just put it.
you saw how she did it with ChatGPT, right? Pretty much. You know, actually, another thing that would be super helpful. Thank you, Cindy. Another thing that would be super helpful if you copied the prompt that you used and
doing it.
pasted that in the chat. Cindy, may I publish that for you by putting a copyright notice saying copyright Cindy Kuhn, it's open source under the MIT license and do all that stuff?
I don't have
Cool. And then
anything
it'll be up
open
on the web.
source under my name. It makes me feel like a techie.
You're congratulations, you're an HTML coder now. Yeah, JavaScript coder, even
Well,
better.
I used to do my own HTML stuff back in the 90s when I was really into it. And I do love it and enjoy it, but I just like, I don't have room for really doing it. But I want to play like this. Like, I like the
know.
play. I just don't need to be building things that Vicky can support me on that are wild in the world that other humans are gonna like use. But I think this is cool. So okay, so then my next question is, if we make more
Yeah,
on our own,
yeah.
where do I go with them?
You could, there's a weird thing where it's kind of better before you share it with a lot of people. It's kind of better if you put the copyright notice and stuff like that.
Yeah, so do I get it to you to do that? Or
Let's do another session where I go over what those publication steps are and have a list of, you know, these are the things you want to do, checklist before you share it with other people. I think, you know, even like you could post it right now in Learn and Do or in Show and Tell or whatever, but it'd be better if it had the attribution stuff in it before we
Yeah.
did that.
love it.
I could email that back to you with the stuff, and then you can put it wherever you want. That'd be awesome. We're still hoping to get the prompt from you in chat, if that's okay.
Oh, what the prompt? Which one? Sorry, I got
The one that says, you know, create a single HTML file, blah, blah, blah. Because Danielle is going to
Got
copy
it, got
paste
it,
it
got
and
it.
turn it
Sorry.
into frogs.
That's my neural spicy. I will. You just
I
gotta
will. I'll try.
Thank you. So make sure if you're interested, you download Cindy's HTML file. I'm going to do that right away, actually. I got potential security issue detected. Cindy Kuhn wants you to run this JavaScript. Are you going to let her blow up your computer? I think it's okay, so I'm going to say download. And then you might also want to save the chat with the three dot menu.
I made a image on Midjourney with it. Came out pretty good. I don't know if I can, but maybe
post it in Learn and Do
I'll do
and Show and Tell or wherever.
sounds good.
Please don't distribute Cindy's work until it's got the copyright on it, the copyright and open source dedication.
Okay.
So we're at time. I would love to talk about LLMs for like 15 minutes to get that started and then cover it more tomorrow. And probably not everybody who's here today can make it tomorrow, so you can
Would
catch it on the recording. or whatever.
Frogify have 2 G's or 1?
The most important question in here.
do.
It would have 2
Yeah,
G's.
two.
Okay.
I think so.
Just, I mean, as a teacher, I should have known that, but
Doesn't everyone know?
Frogify. That's why I
I
was
mean,
dumb.
because that Frogify comes up in, writing frequently, right?
With 1 G, it's pronounced Frojify.
Frogify.
Frogify.
Frogify. Yeah, even better. Frogify.
I'm gonna try this. I'm listening. I'm gonna mute myself though.
Real
Okay,
quick,
let's-
Peter, are you talking about the one tomorrow? Is it at night?
Yes.
Okay.
7 o'clock.
Or
Yes.
in the afternoon if you're on Pacific.
Yeah, for me it's 4 o'clock, which is either better or worse, depending. Let's do LLMs real quick. And I will probably almost just talk through it. Let's do it for about 15 minutes and then I should do prep for my next call. Thank you so much, Cindy. You did great. We all learned a lot, and now you have a Jenkifier on your computer. I'm actually a little bit, so the trick with it's probably easier actually. That let me download it is probably easier. No, for some people, old people like me, the create a text file is actually easier than waiting for another step in ChatGPT. But for almost everybody else, except old people like me, it's going to be like, now let me download that file. So let's kind of think of that as the standard way to get stuff back out. So, in the past couple months, we've talked about local LLMs. There's different reasons to use local LLMs. One of them is you're not dependent on the man or some billionaire. Once it's on your computer, you can do what you want with it. Some people want LLMs that don't have guardrails. They want them not censored. So that's another reason. Another reason is because it's cool. Another reason is because you might want to participate in helping develop the LLM, or be part of a community that's helping develop the LLM. So local LLMs are really important, open source usually. I think it's really important for people to have cheap access to something at least as good as GPT-4. SOTA is AI lingo now for state of the art. When you make a new model, you say, you'll say something like SOTA LLM. I put that in there as kind of a joke, kind of not, I guess. Anyway, it's really important to be using a really smart LLM for at least some things, or for writing code. Some of the LLMs are actually really good at writing code, and they're probably almost as good as GPT-4 at writing code, but they run on your computer. And then the cheap part of this, so I think everybody who's using an LLM should have the opportunity to use a really good one like GPT-4. You can get that from OpenAI, but you have to do it through the developer, API key thing, which we've talked through a couple different times. It's not that scary. It's easy to do. There's no per month charge. There's no plus charge. It's literally per probably 1,000 tokens or something like that. It's really cheap, and more people should use it. So you want to have a chat interface, kind of like ChatGPT. It turns out that when you're using LLMs come in lots of different flavors, and most of them don't chat. Most of them do things like completion is one big thing. You write stuff and then you stop, and then you tell the LLM complete this. And in the background, that's kind of how the chat systems work. They're tuned, they're set up so that when you ask a question, internally it says, and complete this with an answer, basically. So conversely, if you're using a completion LLM, the way you set it up is why is the sky, or the answer to the question, why is the sky blue, is, and then you stop. If you just ask the question, it won't know what to do. It won't do it the right way. But if you say the answer to this question is, then it'll complete it. Chat interface is super important, and then easy to use chat interface, easy to use. I think it's also really important to be able to export your conversations. And for me, scratching my own itch, I've done that a couple different ways. We've talked about ChatGPT Exporter, it's called. It's a one plugin to let you run other kinds of plugins. So you have to install TamperMonkey, and then you have to install ChatGPT Exporter inside that. We won't cover that right now, but it is super something for me to know that every time I'm having a conversation with ChatGPT, I'm building a knowledge base of these conversations. I literally have all of my ChatGPT conversations ever in Obsidian. I can search them, I can change them, I can do stuff like that. So I think it's important to have a way to export your conversations. So this is kind of a shopping list for, like, I want to use chat. I want it to be, whatever you don't have already. I want it to be powerful and local. I want it to be cheap. I want it to have an export. There's different ways to scratch that itch. and most of the time it's not pay $20 again for, you know, Claude, pay $20 for, I don't know how much Gemini costs. Pay $20 for ChatGPT Plus, right? So we've kind of been looking around. We actually have played around writing our own front end. It's actually really pretty easy to write a simple front end, kind of like a Jenkifier. But earlier today, I guess, I was going to say it. I was going to try and make this look like I spent a lot of time doing it. It was actually an hour or so this morning when I was probably supposed to be doing something else. I found a bunch of like rich material. So let me talk through it real quick. And this will be a quick one, and maybe tomorrow we can pick up and do this in a little bit more detail. Before going through this, let me tell you what's here. In HackMD, in Markdown in general, links are clunky. This is a lot better than being in HTML, but it's still hard to read. So when you've come into a bunch of text like this, it's probably easier if you look at this part. And you can't click the links over here, but you can click the links over here. So now if I kind of look over here, these top three are different. They have an interface that's kind of like ChatGPT Plus that lets you talk with an LLM. But the thing now is there are so many open source models that a lot of the job of these things is actually managing all the different models you could be talking to. So I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Remember, we're early in the evolution of AI assistance. So, you know, 3 years from now, you probably wouldn't use these, you wouldn't use any of these the way they are, because they have a lot of management overhead. You know, it's like, okay, great. Now you can download 15 different open source LLMs and use whichever one you want. It's like, you know, why would I want to do that? This is the kind of the way that you get, because I don't know. We could have a simple chat interface to OpenAI, and then it's like, well, I wish it were OpenAI and Claude, and I wish it were OpenAI and Gemini, I wish it were OpenAI and my local LLM, blah, blah. These solve that problem. They solve it so much that a lot of the overhead of learning how to use the thing is going to be learning how to manage models, which isn't the first thing that you thought of when, you know, I didn't have that on my list even. But if you go out shopping for this, you get, let me help you manage all your models. So it's a thing. There's another class of things here, which I think is really interesting. I've been interested for a while in writing books with LLMs, and goat storytelling. This probably means greatest of all time. I don't know. This is something that's really fascinating because I started doing this myself. Because if you, especially older ChatGPT, if you start saying, well, write me a book, you know, I want to write a science fiction novel or whatever, right? It's like starts writing and gets lost, it gets distracted, and you run out of context window, right? The whole thing stops, right? So nowadays the context windows are bigger, so you could actually probably do that better. But any of us who tried that experiment, pretty quickly you get the point. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'll tell you what, ChatGPT, I want to write a science fiction novel. It should be about time travel. Set up the scenario for that. What's the overall story, right? And then you take that and you say, okay, break this, if maybe in a new conversation, even in a new conversation, new context window, you take the summary, the synopsis, and you say, hey, ChatGPT, give me a chapter list for this, you know, a book with this synopsis. And it's like, okay, and here's the chapter list. And then you take one of the chapters and you take the synopsis and you start a new conversation. You say, here's the book, here's the chapter title. Could you fill in the rest, right? And so you kind of like break the whole thing down into pieces, and it can manage that. Goat Storytelling Agent, the agent part of this is something where it essentially creates a, I'm going to say a technical word, notional. It creates like the idea of a bot. When you read agent, kind of think bot, or kind of like what OpenAI GPTs are. It's a little bit different than a GPT. An agent actually does a thing, and so it's got some instructions that tell it what it's supposed to do, and that's its job, right? So I guess agent, a good way to think of agent is something that does a job. So they've got it set up with like 4 different agents or something like that. Maybe I'll actually click on the link here. I'm trying not to click on the link. So it's got, so decomposes stories into the following elements. So its agent keeps track of all of the things that I just went through that probably each of us who tried to write a book GPT early on, you know, it's like, okay, what's the overall story? What act are we in? What chapter are we in? What scene are we in? So this system manages all of that. And so literally you tell it, I want a science fiction story about time travel, and you click the button and it goes and writes the whole thing, right? Whether or not that's a good thing or not, we'll save for another discussion. Somewhere in here, they've got a bunch of examples. You know, it's like, oh yeah, here's 20 different novellas that it wrote, you know. I looked at one. I don't know if it's great. It's good. And, you know, and then the question is, okay, now that you've got that, what would you do with it? Read that and then write your own, read that and hack it to be your own. Post this to some, you know, AI fiction writing group, sell it. I don't know. So I'm fascinated by that. Thanks for listening to me go through all of that exegesis. So it goes from that into other systems, and because well, the next systems are, sorry, I've got to, well, anyway, this is, I didn't pre-figure out how I was going to walk through this without being weird. So anyway, these systems, they're open source. They'll let you write whatever fic you want, right? Fiction you want. So this is not me, but it's super awesome that you can have an LLM system that helps you write stories, helps you live in stories. So really quickly, it goes from write a novel to write a short story, write a long story, write a continuing story that's never going to end, or role play with the characters in your story, right? And talk with one character or talk with multiple characters at one time, right? So so if you click on these, you get to, I don't know, I should have written this down when I was thinking through this. Some of these are uncensored and let you do weird things, which is totally cool and awesome. Don't lose yourself. Don't hurt people, and don't cut yourself off too much from humanity. Remember to be a person as well as somebody who's interacting with a bunch of AI avatars. So that was kind of what I wanted to say in this part. These I didn't even link. Cobalt, and there's a really cool set of stuff here. I didn't link it. The reason I didn't link these is because I didn't spend enough time. I'll come to you in just a sec, Danielle. I didn't spend enough time to figure out what level these all were. I think Cobalt AI is actually the back end, and then Cobalt Lite is the front end, and then Cobalt CPP is managing the LLMs. So it doesn't go in a nice list of these are front ends, these are storytelling, and it starts off with stories and goes to story and role playing. And then Reika Core is completely a different thing, which we'll cover a different time. It's not in this list of tools that we ought to be thinking about. Vicky Boykus is, she was writing the like third-party Obsidian newsletter for a year or two. She ended up having a baby, and that kind of ended. But she's a brilliant technical writer, and super fun to read. And happened in the email newsletter from her today. She's got a link to GGUF. GGUF is the file format that you need your model to be in to get loaded into some of these. So that matters. It doesn't matter right away, but it matters that when you see and it needs to be in GGUF format, you know what it's talking about, and you know that Vicky's got your back, and she'll explain it to you in gory technical detail. So these are a couple places where I got some links for these. So now let's look real quick at maybe these top 3 I think I can do. We'll just look at them. We won't play with them today, and we'll play with them probably tomorrow. So I thought they were cool enough that I put them in my taskbar. You know, you run them once, you drag it over into your taskbar, and now my taskbar has got way too many things. But down here is, I'm going to start with LM Studio. So the tools have gotten to the point where they're easy to download. This runs on, you know, all the different operating systems. It helps you a lot getting your stuff done. I think if I were following Pete and saying, hey Pete, I need a local LLM and I wish it looked like ChatGPT plus, but cost a lot less, this is not exactly what I want. I'm like, thanks Pete for finding me something that's overly complicated. This goes straight to the, you know, through the way the pachinko ball bounced through history. We have a ton of open source models, which is actually a really good thing. And we're not to the point, which we'll get to a year or 2 from now, where you use like 1 of 3 instead of 1 of 50, right? We're at the point where it's 1 of 50, and you have to know things like, oh, what's GGUF? Oh, great, it's got a, thank God it's got a info thing, but it's like any model in one of the supported converted to GGUF, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, great. I wish there was somebody who'd written this up. I think actually, for what it's worth, Vicky is actually, she doesn't mind going deep on technical stuff. So I think that's, I don't know if that's the greatest link for GGF for everybody. I enjoy anything she writes, so I'm going to have a blast reading her thing on GGF, but maybe we'll need a different thing as well. And then you have to figure out, you know, what's the difference between Llama and Mistral and Falcon and Stable, blah, 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 right? It goes really quickly to, oh, you're a good friend of Hugging Face. Just put your Hugging Face repo URL in here. It's like, okay, 3 words, I don't know what they mean. And this one's scary. Hugging Face, I don't know what that means. Repo, I don't know what that means. URL, I don't know what that means, right? So we'll kind of like walk into this. Don't be scared. It's easy to use. The little bit of technical stuff that you need to learn is not, you can kind of close your eyes and just get through it, and then you've got an LLM. So pretty quickly, I think it's like, okay, this is a great dashboard. I didn't set these up very much because I wanted to go through it with y'all. Here's like, I probably want to do this AI chat thing. That sounds great. So let me do that. When I already did the without anything. Oh, here it is right here. Yeah. Looks like you don't have any local LLMs yet. Just try starting with these. So they've tuned down the noise a lot. You know, they could let you choose from 50 things here. They picked the top ones. If you look at these are big and heavy. And these are not the ones that are really big and heavy either. So it's like, oh yeah, download 4 gigs to your machine. I've got a terabyte, but it's filling up. And so 4 gigs on my, you know, I've got 37 gigs left or something like that. I don't worry about it. I've got a way to fix all that. But, you know, if I download these 3, all of a sudden I've got no disk space. So whatever. It turns out also that these systems will help you manage local LLMs, and you download 1 of 50, but they'll also let you set up with, and I forget how I did it. probably my models. I'm lost, but it let me set up with GPT-4 as well. So I had to put in an API key, but then I can do that. Let's see. Okay, I'm lost. I'll have to do this later. I've got this set up so, you know, with a few button presses and some setup that I've done previously, I've got something that looks like a ChatGPT Plus window, and it can talk to GPT-4, and it can also talk to a local one or whatever. So this is great. LLM Studio looks really nice, even though I couldn't figure out quite how to use it there. Let's look at Jan or Jan. I don't know how to pronounce it. Kind of the same thing. You don't have a local model yet. Go find yourself a local model. I hope it helps you. It at least has green things for recommended. It's got way too many recommended things, and it doesn't tell me, you know, how to choose, but that's okay. Let's get to chatting. So it calls conversations threads, which is, I guess, good, but I wish it didn't. This is the same thing. Right here, I can choose which model to use, and I've got the OpenAI set up. And so if I've got OpenAI GPT-4 selected, I can do things like, why is the sky blue? Looks like pretty sure, no, actually I set up LLM Studio with an API key. This one I didn't, because tomorrow we're going to go through how to get your API key. We'll do that again. It's super quick, super easy, super fast, super fun. Let me show you the next one, which is GPT for all. GPT for all is a lot clunkier. They're using more basic UI library. But it kind of does the same thing. And I think, yeah, it also lets you talk to GPT-4, you know, if you've got an API key. So I'm kind of doing this the wrong way. I should be all about finding the best model, having a locally, you know, picking maybe a couple models. One's good for code, one's good for writing stories, one's good for general purpose. So you can see that this looks a lot like ChatGPT Plus, except that I'm using API access very, very, very cheap. And it's like, you know, if I wanted to get rid of that 20 bucks a month thing, and I'm okay not having access to GPTs, not having access to the latest stuff, this is actually great. And this is literally GPT-4. So it's the same quality as, you know, if I switch to a local model, this would be slower probably. It'd be more like 10 tokens a second, 7, and I've got a fast machine. If I just switch to a very small model, I could probably get the tokens up, but then it would be more stupid. So let's look at DreamGen Opus real quick. I did a little bit more poking around with these story writing and uncensored story writing and role playing stuff. I guess I don't have it loaded up, and I didn't really link it because it's not really interesting to me. Dig around if you want, if that's your thing. So you notice, like, this is interesting, and DreamGen is open source, and it's for pay. I guess actually this is what I was thinking. If you go to dreamgen.com, probably. So they're cool enough to have done all their stuff open source, but, you know, unleash your fantasies, generous free tier, role play with one of these people. It's interesting that role play is at front, and then your story is the next thing. I care more about the story, but whatever. So if you just want to talk to the characters in your story and you don't need the story part, you go here. If you need the story, then you go here. So this is a hosted version of DreamGen. So maybe this is your thing. Maybe you would check the pricing, and maybe you would just spend all your time here. Or maybe you would, maybe you want it in the back end, you want it on your machine, you want to play around with it a little bit more. So you'll notice here there's that GGUF. So this is something I know that we can use with ML Studio or whatever, AWQ, and these are for other managers, model managers. Those aren't the ones that we would need unless we were using a different one. The cool thing here is it's set up, they trained it to write stories, role-playing kinds of stories. So it's going to be better at doing that than like a 3.5 level local LLM, for instance. So this is kind of like the system prompt, but it's set up to take 2 kinds of system prompts. One of them is the setting of the story, science fiction, time travel, and then the instruction is like what the story is about. So then you find a front end for this. Some of the front ends that we went through, LM Studio, Jan or Jan, or GPT for All, I think would work with this. There's a couple other ones. Ooga Booga is another, Ooga Booga LLM file. There's a couple other ones that are a little bit harder to use. So I'm really excited. So to conclude, I'm really excited about, there's some good tools here. The good mix of tools. They're overly complicated for what I was hoping we would find, but it's kind of the state of the art. That's the way of the land right now. There's a lot of LLM models, and you need to have a manager for it. And so, poof. So I'm super
Hey, Peter,
excited.
the Writers Guild people would probably like to know about this. In fact, if you could put this into like one of those 2-minute videos, that might help them actually.
Totally agree. I'm not there yet. So tomorrow is probably going to, if we go through this at depth, it's probably going to be a 40-minute explanation where I figure out the most important 10, like after 40 minutes, we can go back and say, this is the most important 10 minutes. And then after that, this is the most important 90 seconds. So that 90-second thing is going to take a while to get to. But I would love to get the Writers Guild in on it. I'll ping Jane and see if she wants to get in on us figuring it out, or if she wants to wait until we figured it out a little bit more. I would guess the latter. But the other thing, actually, I'm pretty sure Jane is all about writing, and there's a little bit of AI in the background instead of, this is a lot more like, I need an LLM to do PowerSaw work. I needed to write a Python script or a JavaScript file or a novel or whatever.
A little bit though, because I'm in that group too, and sometimes the discussions do come up where people are looking for, yeah, I think it's worth seeing.
Peter, I should know this, but can you remind me how we can access the HackMD with all that great information?
I didn't do a great job of saying where it was today. There's a link at the very top of the chat, and there's a link at the very top of the chat is, I guess, the answer. So let me put that link. I know some people joined afterwards. Let me put that link at the bottom of the chat. And then the thing that we kind of went through, and it maybe didn't make sense, sooner or later, if you go to the real thing to remember is this one, AI 101 Peter Kaminsky Wiki. I should put that someplace really obvious on Mighty Networks too. This has got the meeting notes and kind of hidden somewhere on here. I guess I'll put a link over here, live session notes. All the HackMDs end up here. Sooner or later, the HackMD link dies and it turns into, the same information is on this website. Does that help, Paul? I know that was answers to 2 questions you didn't ask along with the one
Oh,
that you
thank you.
did.
It helps a lot.
Cool. So see some of you tomorrow. If you don't, we'll record it, et cetera, et cetera. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank
Bye.
you.